Tonight on Sports Desk, Miami baseball looks to turn things around after a slow start to ACC play.
Yeah, Simon, our own Josh White sits down with Manny Diaz to talk about his journey to becoming head football coach.
That's right. Plus, reporter and student athlete Cameron Dobbs tells us why the NCAA's newest ad gets everything wrong.
All that and more. Sports Desk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Hello and welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Simon Lehrer.
And I'm Brendan Riley. And Simon, yesterday was a national holiday for sports fans, MLB opening day.
Yeah, Brandon, that's for sure. It was really exciting to see pro teams back in action, but college baseball is almost halfway through its regular season. The Hurricanes enter this weekend just 3-6 in conference play, but with a good chance to turn things around as Miami begins a series tonight against the last-place Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, and our Inside Pitch crew discusses the Canes' recent struggles and how they can turn it around this weekend in Pittsburgh. Guys?
Welcome to Inside Pitch. I'm your host, Charlotte Payne, joined again with analyst Max Trink. Well, it looks like you were right again with predictions. The Wolfpack hounded the Hurricanes last weekend. What are some of the mistakes that the guys made?
And Charlotte, when it came down to it, the team really did struggle when it came down to errors, and this team has really been impacted by that throughout the entire season, but it really showed against NC State. And when you go into games that come into one-run, two-run games, that's going to be the big disappointment when it comes down to making those errors, especially on Saturday. A team that committed 2 errors, but they did end up coming back and give a one-run game at one point in that game, a 7-6 game, but they couldn't come back, and those errors were a big part of that. But the biggest game that the errors made an impact in was on Sunday when the Hurricanes were up 4-2. Then they committed 3 errors in the top of the 9th inning, and they just couldn't come back. That cannot happen going into future series in the ACC against top teams, and NC State, a top 5 team in the country. That really cannot happen, and it seems like the Hurricanes have really been struggling with that throughout the entire year.
And some might call it sweet redemption for the Canes. Their midweek game against FAU was a blowout. What switched between that weekend matchup and that Wednesday evening game?
And it was just shocking to see the power come right away for this Hurricanes team. Seemed like the offense really wasn't there for the Hurricanes in that 6-game skid. It looked like they were back to that 15-3 team that started out the year, the Gino DiMare era that was so great at the start of the year. And really, that's what broke them out. Jordan Lala hitting that solo shot to start off the game, and that really kick-started the entire offense. From that point, really, Miami was very strong. Slade Ciccone had a little bit of longevity issues, but the Hurricanes were strong offensively. They really need to continue that going into the series against Pitt, but a really good start for the Hurricanes about to head on the road.
And they're in Pitt right now. The game is underway as we speak. What are your predictions for this weekend?
Yeah, and Pittsburgh really hasn't been so great this year against ACC opponents. 1-8 on the year, and after a performance in Boca Raton, Florida, like the Hurricanes had, really, it looks like they're going to take advantage of that opportunity. The Miami staff is significantly better at pitching compared to the Pittsburgh Panthers, as well as the Panthers only have 2 guys that are hitting over 300. Miami has significantly more guys that have been really powerhouses for this team. So I'm going to take the Hurricanes sweeping the Panthers in Pittsburgh 3-0.
And that is all the time we have for Inside Pitch. Brendan has a score update right now for us. Brendan, how's it looking in Pittsburgh?
Thanks, Charlotte. The Canes are currently up 3-1 over Pitt as they move to the top of the 3rd in Pittsburgh. But turning over to the gridiron, it was pro day on Monday for Miami's prospects, and I went to the new indoor practice facility to see how the Canes performed in front of NFL scouts. Pro day. A time for Miami's 2019 senior class to shine. And for the first time in school history, the players were able to go indoors to the new indoor practice facility, something that head coach Manny Diaz is grateful for.
A big thank you to Mark Richt and Carol Sofer. It was this day a couple years ago in the monsoon that really was a driving force to get this built. And I don't know if you all heard, but the lightning alarm went off, which I don't know how it did. There's not hardly a cloud in the sky, but that was felt like that was almost God's way of saying, let's be thankful for, the reason why we have this.
Not only were there scouts from the NFL here, but also from the newly formed AAF. They came here to Coral Gables to take a look at Miami's 2019 prospects. Defensive lineman Gerald Willis III has been dealing with injury problems dating back to last season,
but on pro day, he knew he would have to fight through it.
I wasn't frustrated at all. I just knew I had to get through the line drills. And I already knew what I already knew my challenge was up, what I had to do, and I already knew what I had to do and perform.
The cane who stood out the most, though, was Trayon Gray, coming in with a 4.37 40 time. But he knew that didn't come easy.
Run faster because I didn't run through the line, so I had to, try to get a bigger buzz on my second run, and I did. I ran faster the second time, they said. But pain is temporary, going through working out 8-9 weeks straight, every day, not missing a day. Your body hurting every day, trying to get healthy. Just to run, then when I come put it off, it's a real compliment because I put myself out. Even some days I was about to cry, like when I was running slow, I knew I could run fast.
While players can have an amazing pro day, Diaz says that it's what you do on the field before pro day that should get you drafted.
You want them to think that today is not the end-all, be-all day, because a good performance today can't make up for not having good film. You want to be good at football, and what our guys should feel confident being out there because our guys play football well. If they play football well in college, remind me they'll play football well in the NFL.
The Canes will have to wait until April 25th through the 27th to see if their dreams of being drafted come true.
As the next wave of players head to the NFL, spring practice is still in full swing, and Manny Diaz is wasting no time getting his players ready for the upcoming season. I'm joined now here with UMTV reporter Josh White. Josh, what did Coach Diaz have to say about what Canes fans should expect in the coming months?
Well, Brendan, since Manny Diaz took over the program in January, there's been a resurgence in the football program, and Coach Diaz is just getting started building the new Miami.
Coach, I want to go all the way back. Born and raised in Miami, Miami Country Day. What's your first memory as a Hurricane fan?
First game I remember going to was early 80s. From there, we became pretty regulars. My family and I had those games, and of course, there was a lot of great memories in the 80s at the Orange Bowl.
A lot of great memories along the way, but I kind of want to talk about the unique route you took to being a head coach. You go to Florida State, you're an ESPN production assistant after that. How did coaching come all about?
Well, I wanted to do the next best thing to playing. I just didn't know how you got into coaching. I mean, how do you become a coach? I mean, there's really not a school for it. There's not an application for it. It just, I didn't know how that worked. And it wasn't until I was at ESPN and talking to some people at ESPN that really, the more we talked ball and the more I talked to those guys, it kind of stoked this fire within me to really realize that as much as I enjoyed working at ESPN, that wasn't really the next best thing. The next best thing to playing was really coaching.
You talked about that fire that was lit onto you, getting that coaching call. I want to fast forward a little bit to when you get the call to be defensive coordinator from Mark Richt at Miami. You're coming home. What's going through your mind in that situation?
In this profession, you don't really control where you live. And sometimes it's better when you let the work come find you, put it like that. And when his name popped up on the caller ID, I had a feeling it wasn't to say Merry Christmas. I knew it was for, and at that moment, even before I answered the phone, I knew I was going to Miami because you just didn't know if you'd have an opportunity to come and come home again. So that was definitely a life-changing moment.
You go through being defensive coordinator at Miami. Obviously, it doesn't end on the best foot. What's going through your mind when you're walking off the field at Yankee Stadium and Shaq Quarterman's to your left crying and Sheldrick Redwine's to your right? Yeah, it was very emotional. Probably, to be honest, too much emotion for a football team to bear. But I felt like I really want to be there for the team, and we have a lot of guys that even the next day when the plane landed here and we were kind of all going our separate ways, you're like, man, I can't believe I'll never get to coach that guy again, because that's just the quality. Forget about how they are on the field. The quality of the guys we have on our team and what it's like to be around them off the field for the last 3 years. And then just 3 days later, Mark Richt unexpectedly retires, and then you're named head coach literally 12 hours later. In your wildest dreams, did you ever think that day would come?
No, and certainly not in that circumstance. It was as unusual of a day as you'll see in college football coaching lore. You realize that you've got a big job to do, and to be the head coach at the University of Miami, there's great responsibility that comes with that. You kind of have to go right to work.
That day, obviously, not only a big day for you personally, a big day for the program, but also the community. You're the first Cuban-American head coach of UM. How big do you think that is to the city of Miami?
Well, it's something I have a lot of pride in, and I know that the community does as well. I mean, I think we all kind of grew up together, the team and the city. And so, I think the Miami Hurricanes team is so representative of our community. All the different neighborhoods that our players come from, all the different backgrounds, ethnicities, races to come to one team and to become the Miami Hurricanes. It's something that, to be able to represent that diversity is something I'm very proud of here at UM.
With the Hurricanes less than 5 months away from kicking off the Manny Diaz era, Miami returns to practice Saturday morning in Coral Gables. Part 2 of the sit-down with Coach Diaz will air later on in the semester. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Josh White. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Josh. Coach Diaz is already using the momentum from the new Miami to prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah, Brendan, and speaking of the playoffs, Hurricanes women's basketball had high hopes for a deep March Madness run, but their season came to an end on Sunday night.
That's right, Simon. A pretty disappointing loss for the Canes at home against Arizona State. Head coach Katie Meyer and point guard Laura Cornelius had this to say after a tough end to the season.
I think our last 2 shots were being maced, if that's correct, right? On executed plays exactly for that purpose. You know, call me an idiot. I know they weren't having a great game, but my God, you're crazy if I'm not going to those 2 kids in that moment, and I did.
That play hurt us, but we still got a shot. I think we got our chance before that even, and I think we played a heck of a basketball game, and it's really tough to lose like this at home.
Canes are losing a few key players moving into the offseason. They're hoping to rebound from this year's tournament loss.
And our Hurricane Hangtime crew discusses what went wrong and what to expect next season in this week's edition of Hurricane Hangtime. Guys?
Welcome to Hurricane Hangtime. I'm your host, Alex Manella. He is Eli Griswold, and we're here to talk about Hurricanes women's basketball. Now, Eli, the Hurricanes found themselves in the NCAA tournament for the 5th consecutive year in a row. They cannot make it to the Sweet 16 once again. What went wrong for them?
Yeah, a tough end to the season for the Hurricanes. Hosting the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, you'd like to think that would have set a good precedent for them to try and make it into the Sweet 16. They had a great performance against FGCU, but it really fell apart in the later moments again in that game against Arizona State. India Banks had that inbounds pass that she tried to force into Laura Cornelius. Instead of taking that final timeout to kind of gather her thoughts and control the tempo a little bit. So the Arizona State stole that ball, brought it down the court, and hit 2 free throws to go up. And then Amasa Hoff missed an uncharacteristic layup at the end as the buzzer sounded and eliminated the Hurricanes from the postseason.
Now, you mentioned Amasa Hoff. She's not going to be there next year, as well as Kayla Prather. So the Hurricanes are losing 2 instrumental leaders on their team. However, they are going to bring in some top 100 recruits. So what's your way too early 2019-2020 season prediction?
Yeah, it's definitely too early to make a prediction for the entire season, but I'm looking for their recruitment class and Sydney Roby and Brianna Jackson, both top 20 post-player recruits, to make an immediate impact. Amasa Hoff is graduating. She's been such a strong performer her entire career, but Beatrice Montpremier is coming back, and then I think those 2 recruits are going to really try and carry on this post philosophy of the Hurricanes.
We'll have to see what happens. That's all the time that we have. Now back to you.
Coming up, one U.S. Olympian is taking the next step in his career by returning home. Find out what's ahead for this former UM diver after the break.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Both Miami men's and women's tennis teams were in action earlier today as the Hurricanes men's tennis team lost on the road to Louisville 4-0. While on the women's side, the Canes did beat Clemson at home 6-1.
Yesterday, Hurricanes diver Briadam Herrera received All-American honors for the 6th time in his career. The redshirt senior took home the honor after finishing 6th in the 1-meter dive at the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships in Austin, Texas.
Diver Sam Dorman represented Miami at the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Brazil. And this week, UMTV reporter Charles Gonzalez got a chance to catch up with Dorman as he dives into his new role in life.
When I'm diving, it's like I'm in my own world. I've done it for 19 years and it's just kind of my comfort zone. Coming to UM was very different. I had no friends, no family. I came from everything and went to nothing. It was kind of a clean slate and something I kind of enjoyed.
Sam Dorman was recruited in 2009 by UM head diving coach Randy Abelman. After considering many universities, Dorman ended up at the University of Miami.
The training environment at UM was the best training environment I could have ever asked for.
He had so much growing up to do that I've dealt with Sam in every phase of his life, from changing his major and getting him through school and all the issues that he had, and we've had fun all along the way, but it's been a lot more than just an athlete and a diving coach.
After graduating from UM in 2015, Dorman trained for a year and qualified for the 2016 Rio Olympics.
Qualifying for the Olympic team was an amazing feeling, but also weird. It's like, wow, my dream just came true. And at that time, it's like, okay, all the coaches grab you and they say, okay, this is just the beginning. You still have to go to the Olympics now, and we're trying to get a medal.
And he ended up achieving his goal. He earned a silver medal in the 3-meter springboard synchro event with his diving partner, Michael Hickson. But after his diving career was over, he didn't want to leave the pool. He decided he would begin his path to becoming a coach.
I kind of wanted to start coaching because I felt like I owed it back to the sport. I mean, the sport's given me so much, and to be able to go back and teach these little kids what I used to enjoy when I was a little kid was cool.
You know, he's at the beginning. You know, he just like in diving, he's got a lot of ability. He'll be a great coach, but I'm glad he's starting with the youth.
I mean, every day I come to the pool and we work hard, but we have a great time doing it, and that's kind of the aspect that I wanted.
Dorman's coaching career may just be beginning, but he hopes to become a head coach at the collegiate level. For UMTV, I'm Charles Gonzalez.
This week, the NCAA released a video supposedly depicting a day in the life of your average student athlete. But based off the reactions from actual student athletes, the commercial isn't so accurate. UMTV reporter Cameron Dobbs, who is also a volleyball player here at Miami, has a special perspective on the issue.
Last Sunday, the NCAA released a video titled Student and Athlete, A Day in the Life. The video follows a typical day from the perspective of a student athlete. The video immediately sparked outrage from athletes and students alike. But why is everyone angered by the video? Easy, it isn't accurate. I'm a student athlete and feel like this is not what a day is like at all. Where are the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into our days? Don't get me wrong, being a student athlete is one of the biggest blessings in my life, but it's not an easy job. The video depicts the student athlete jogging, but this is not even close to being an accurate representation of my workout. While the video shows the student going to class and a game right after, it lacks the stress and pressure from coaches and teammates. Baker Mayfield took to social media and said, quote, "This is the most inaccurate thing I've seen in a while," end quote. And athletes here at the University of Miami are just as frustrated. Canes track member Zakia Rashid says, quote, "It is completely ridiculous for them to portray a student athlete's life the way they did. It was not even close to what student athletes go through in a day," end quote. Carolyn Brown added, quote, "I understand we chose this life, but they only chose to show all the glitz and glam," end quote. Sure, we get gear, coverage, and praise, but this is only because of the hard work we put in. I wake up at 6 a.m., meet with my coach at 7, have treatment at 8, practice lift and run for 3 hours, watch film with my coaches, and rush to grab a quick bite to eat before I sit through 5 hours of class until 8 p.m. Finally, I sit down to work on homework for a few hours, going to sleep at midnight, and waking up at 6 a.m. to do it all over again. That is a day in the life. NCAA, you missed the mark on this one. Back to you.
Up next, we take a closer look at one Hurricane alum making an impact in the community with an unmatched drive to help others. But first, it's time for some trivia. The Hurricanes women's basketball team lost a close game to Arizona State in the NCAA tournament, and it's the second time in the last 3 years Miami hosted without making it past the second round of the tournament. But when was the last time they did make it to the Sweet 16? Was it A, 2011, B, 2002, C, 1996, or D, 1992? We'll have the answer when we come back.
checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right, we got a Yankees fan, Red Sox fan. Who takes the AL East?
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles. They're projected at 45 wins, but they got a lot of promise.
I'm a big Vladimir Guerrero Jr. guy, so I have to take the Blue Jays.
Not the Rays?
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back. If you guessed D, you are correct. The Canes advanced to the Sweet 16 after going 30-2 under head coach Fern Labate in 1992. That year, the Canes rolled through UNC in the first round before being stopped by Vanderbilt to end their run.
The Power 5 Trailblazer track and field competition took place last weekend here in Coral Gables. The event pinned 5 different universities with female head coaches against each other. Schools besides Miami included USC, Ohio State, and Tennessee. The Miami women's team had a strong showing, coming in second place. Senior Michelle Atherley came in first in the high jump. Miami also won the 4x100 relay, finishing with a time of 44.08 seconds. Going to the men's side, the Hurricanes struggled, finishing in last place. But junior Raheem Chambers was the sole bright spot. Chambers finished in second place with a time of 21.04 seconds, 1/100 off of a second behind the first place finish.
At UM, former defensive end Demetrius Jackson was no stranger to supporting his local community. And after graduating, he is still determined to help those around him, but this time on a larger scale. Reporter Brianna Ross is live in the studio and has the story. Brianna?
Well, guys, there's already a lot of energy surrounding Demetrius Jackson's campaign, and even though it just started, Jackson has some big ideas about how to make a difference in his hometown of Overtown. I sat down with Demetrius Jackson to see how the campaign is going so far and what issues we can expect to see at the forefront of the campaign in the coming months. For Demetrius Jackson, announcing his campaign for state representative on March 17th marked the beginning of a new journey, one that he has dreamed of for quite some time.
The idea been hit me through college, but I really sat and thought about it, I believe in the month of January, and I kept thinking about it, and before you knew it, we had this whole announcement in March.
Jackson used the announcement to interact with members of the Overtown community to see what issues matter most to them. That feedback helped him decide the focus of his campaign.
Gun violence, economic development, and mental illness, that's going to be the 3 main issues, of our campaign.
Members of the Overtown community are confident that if elected, Demetrius will represent them well.
If there's anyone to work with the community, Demetrius is the one.
He had the opportunity to go pro and make money, but a lot of times it's not just the money, it's actually about being there and being that support, that change agent.
And members of the UM community are excited to see a former Cane running for office.
Honestly, it's truly inspiring to see someone who's just graduated, who is a Miami Hurricane, who's on the football team, who is involved in his community, go for something he wants and run for office.
He gives me the sense that I could also impact change on the community.
Though the race has just begun, Jackson already has big plans for the rest of his campaign. Plans that he hopes land him the coveted seat as the state representative for District 109.
I have a lot of young people on my staff. We're running. We're going to be listening to the problems. We're not going to go in pretending we know everything. We're listening. And we're just going to have fun with it.
And the campaign will continue with Jackson's next event scheduled for April 13th. For UMTV, I'm Brianna Ross.
Still to come, we race over to the Carroll Soffer Indoor Practice Facility, where some Miami student athletes got a first-hand experience in the world of NASCAR. More after this.
maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Tons of future NBA stars introduce themselves to the world with viral highlight videos. But tonight, our reporter Daniel DeVilliers checks out one case of a young baller going viral too soon. Daniel?
Many aspiring athletes share their highlight tapes online with the hopes of going viral. Now picture that hope becoming a reality. An 11-year-old Damon Hardge Jr. became an overnight sensation, gaining millions of views. His video was seen across the U.S. and the middle schooler became a household name in basketball. Fast forward 5 years, and now he's fighting for the chance just to get a college offer. Throughout middle school, Damon Hardge Jr. was the best player in his grade. Millions saw his mixtape, getting him several college offers before playing high school.
I felt like I put fear in everybody's eyes. Like, even when there were kids were older than me, I felt like I still put fear, like, in their eyes.
And he handled the national attention like a pro.
I just knew I was different, and I still to this day feel like I'm a different type of player than everybody else, but I just feel like overall it helped me mature faster as far as being able to handle myself properly when attention came.
You know, when I mentored him, you know, we talked a lot about his story. We talked about, you know, helping him empower himself, enhance his mindset, and really help him figure out who he is from an identity standpoint outside of just what people have told him about being a great basketball player.
Before his junior year, Hardge had 10 D1 offers, but a season-ending injury brought his promising career to a stop.
It definitely was just eating me up because I didn't touch a ball for like 9 months or 10 months or something like that. So it was eating me up. Like, I lost a lot of confidence when I came back.
It takes a lot of character to bring yourself around in that type of situation. I think it's helped him to build character. I think it's helped him to be stronger, more dedicated, more mentally sound.
After his senior year, Hardge joined a fifth-year high school program, hoping for a chance to play at the next level.
He's ready to be in the moment. He's ready to take on whatever it is in terms of challenges, obstacles, responsibilities, and it'll help him to continue to be able to demonstrate that to whatever the next opportunity is that is afforded him.
Basketball has taught me to be faithful to it because it can take you a lot of places at the end of the day. Like, if you work with something consistently, it'll pan out for you.
The same way he takes his shots on the court, Hardge is waiting for a college to take a shot on him. For UMTV, I'm Daniel DeVilliers.
And now it's time for play of the day. Yesterday was opening day in the MLB, and with that comes home runs, high-flying catches, and of course, home run robberies. That being said, we swing over to Milwaukee, where the Brewers' Lorenzo Cain had the last laugh against the division rival Cardinals. Top of the ninth, 2 outs. Josh Hader facing Jose Martinez, and that ball's crushed out to right center, and Cain looking up is going to leave, but he says, "No way! Sit down, Martinez! That one's not getting out. I'm saving this one for my pitcher," as he gets the save for Hader with a miraculous catch, and the Brewers take game 1 of the season 5-4 over the Cardinals in thrilling fashion.
When you think of the Canes, you might picture future NFL and MLB stars, but a different pro sports league came to campus yesterday with the hopes of finding some new talent. NASCAR's Pit Crew Combine, specifically designed for Hurricane student athletes as part of their Drive for Diversity program. 2 Miami student athletes participated in the event, including football player Terry McRae, who's graduating in May. The initiative aims to diversify the sport of NASCAR and featured strength and conditioning tests not unlike those given by the football team. Well, Brendan, I don't know if I'd want to be a part of a pit crew, but going behind the wheel of a race car seems pretty cool.
Yeah, to have to go triple digits, 200 miles per hour, has to be pretty surreal.
Definitely unforgettable, probably really scary, but that's all the time we've got for tonight. We'll see you all next week.